Hey everybody, it's Mr. Saran, and we're going to learn how to create this photo manipulation in Photoshop. Alright, to start you'll need to get the files from Canvas. You'll go onto the home page, then to Class Resources, and then Graphic Design Images. Now when that pulls up, click on Projects and Project Files, then head to the third one that says Polaroid Project, and then click on Polaroid Project Files. Here you will click on each of these 3 images and download them individually. So just right click on the image and select download. Now these 3 images will appear in your downloads. You can select all of them at the same time. Now drag the 3 of them into the Photoshop icon that's there on your desktop, and it will open up all 3 projects individually. We want all 3 of these images to be separate projects. Now up here you'll see you can toggle between your different projects. Now we're going to start on the Polaroid image. Here we have our layers, and here we have our toolbar. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. The shortcut for that is the letter U. And I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner and drag down until I get to the bottom right corner. And I'm going to trace that outer rectangle. Now it will automatically fill the shape with a color. I'm not sure what it will default to for you, but for me it defaulted to brown. We want to change the color to white for the time being, so we are going to go up to where it says fill. And you have some options here, but to choose the exact color you want, click on this rainbow colored rectangle here, and you can choose any color from this color picker. Now if you slide this bar, you'll be able to get any color you want. And then you pick the exact tone inside, and then press OK. Now we're going to just change it to white for the time being. And press enter to get that window to go away. Now over here in my layers panel, you'll see a little eyeball icon. You can toggle that on and off to view or hide your layer. So we're going to toggle it off so that we can see what's underneath. And I'm going to trace this inner rectangle. I'm going to change the fill color to black. I'm going to turn the white rectangle layer back on by clicking this eyeball. Now I want to select both layers, so I'm going to make sure the black layer is selected. I'm going to hold down Shift and click on the white rectangle as well. So now that they are both selected, I'm going to go up to the top menu where it says Layer, and I'm going to scroll down and hover over Combine Shapes and select Subtract Front Shape. And what that did is it cut out the black rectangle from the white, and so now we're left with this shape. But for some reason it turned it black, so we're going to adjust that now. I need to make sure I have my rectangle tool selected. I'll go up to the fill. Here are some options where I can remove the fill. And this option is a gradient, which is a gradual transition from one color to another. Now it usually defaults to black and white. I'm going to change the black color to more of a gray. I'm going to use the code D4D4D4, which you can just type right into the field there, or you can just find a color that's similar to what I have. Now it's very subtle. It's a very, very light gray. On this little wheel, you can change the direction of the gradient. I'm going to set it to -15 and press enter. So I'm going to select the move tool, which is at the top of the toolbar. I'm going to click away from my canvas in this random space just to deselect everything. And now I will select my white rectangle and press Ctrl C to copy it. Now toggle over to the woman portrait file and paste that white rectangle. Grab the corner and drag it up to expand it. If you hold down Shift, you can change the proportions and skew it, but we don't want to do that in this case, so we will just click and drag the corner. Now in this example image, you will see that the Polaroid is tilted and also that her hair is coming out past the Polaroid and her fingers down here are also coming down past it. So we want to create something similar in our file. So I'm going to tilt my image, but first I need to make sure the Polaroid is selected. So you want the Move tool. You'll click on the rectangle to make sure it's selected. Then hover over the middle knob here until you see a little arch with an arrow on both ends. That means you can rotate. Drag it to rotate it until it's at about -15 degrees. Now we're going to expand and resize our Polaroid and then move it as needed with the arrow keys or by clicking and dragging. Now that we have it where we want it, we are going to need to apply a layer mask. This layer mask will make it look like her head and her hands are in front of the Polaroid. So to create a layer mask, I'm going to go down here to the bottom where you see that little rectangle with a circle inside. That's a layer mask. Click on that. Now we're going to be using a paintbrush, and we can only use black or white with this layer mask in order to make it work. So I'm going to go over here to this little color panel and I'm going to click that little tiny icon in the far left corner. That's going to reset my colors to white and black. Now if I press this little curved arrow, it will switch the colors so that black is in front and white is behind. The one that's in front is my active color. By pressing X on my keyboard, I can quickly toggle between black and white, and that's going to be really useful when we're working on this layer mask. Now I'm going to select the brush tool. The shortcut for that is B, like brush, and I'm going to head over to my brush menu. Now if you don't see this brush menu, then just go up here to where it says window and then select brushes, and that window will pop up. Now here you'll see I can select many different types of brushes. I'm going to start off with the soft, round pressure opacity brush. Now since I have black as my active color, if I paint on top of this Polaroid, it's going to hide it because we are working on the layer mask. If I come over here and switch the colors so that white is the active color and paint, then it will reveal or show what used to be hidden. So anytime I'm painting with black on a layer mask, it will hide the object. And when I paint with white on a layer mask, it will reveal that object. So I'm going to change my color again back to black, and I'm going to erase the majority of this Polaroid wherever I see her head. Now remember, I'm not actually erasing it, I'm just hiding it because it's a mask. Now since the white Polaroid is covering up her head right now in some areas, it's hard to see what's behind it. And we need to know what's behind it so we can create an accurate mask. So what we'll do is we'll change the opacity of this layer by going down here to opacity and changing it to about 50%. This makes the layer transparent and allows us to see everything that's underneath it. Now I can create a more accurate mask. By zooming up, I can see what's behind it, and I can just follow those lines and erase or hide the Polaroid wherever those little hairs are. Now I can come down here and do the same basic thing with the hands that should be in front of the Polaroid. I'm just hiding the Polaroid so that the hands show. Now I could do this entire hand with the paintbrush, and with a graphics tablet that is easy. but with a mouse it might not be so easy. So here is another way you can do it that might be easier with a mouse. Click and hold the lasso tool up here until you see the drop down menu and select magnetic lasso tool. Make sure you have your mask selected, and now click and start to drag around the shadow. As you do so, these little points will start to snap to where it thinks you want it to go. It's really helpful, and this way you can draw around the shadow and around the hands, and it will kind of snap to where it thinks you want it to go. And this is going to create a selection. Now you have to connect it to the first dot in order to make it a selection. And up here on the left, we have these options. This first option means that every time you click, it will replace your selection with a new one. But we want to select the second option. That means we can add more and more to our selections. Every time we click and create a shape here, it will add to our selection. So right now we are going to add the rest of this hand to our selection. And if your selection is not connecting just right, just press enter and they should connect. Now when I came up along the right side of the hand, I accidentally selected a little too much. When that happens, just hold down Option on your keyboard, and that will make the little plus sign change to a minus sign. And you can subtract from your selection, and it will just take away that chunk that you don't want. Now you also have this tool called the lasso tool, and it's really cool because you can just draw whatever shape you want and it will create a selection out of the shape you draw. It can select or deselect. If I just click and drag and make a shape, it'll select it. If I press Option, it will deselect whatever shape I create. So here I'm going to use Option. I'm going to hold down Option and deselect the things I don't want, or select the things that I do want to keep. Now I'm subtracting these little things from my selection to make it more refined. And don't spend too much time on it. Don't feel like you have to make this selection absolutely 100% perfect. Just get it done the best you can in just a few minutes, and then head over to the paint bucket tool. The shortcut for that is G. Now click anywhere inside your selection to fill that selection with black. Now since we are working on a layer mask, it's not going to put black paint on the picture. It's just going to hide the white Polaroid and reveal the hands that are underneath. Now when I change the opacity back up to 100, you see the hand that used to be underneath the Polaroid, but now it looks like it's on top. I'm going to press Ctrl D to get rid of my selection. I'm going to take the brush tool and select the hard round pressure opacity brush. I'm going to just carefully paint a little bit of these edges. Now remember, I'm painting but not with colors. What I'm doing is I'm still working on the layer mask, and so by painting with black, I am hiding the white Polaroid and showing the hand underneath. And by painting with white, I am hiding the hand and showing the Polaroid. So I'm just going to carefully refine these edges. You can adjust the size of your brush, or you can change which brush you're using to fit your needs. And I'm just going to clean everything up around the hand and the shadow. Now I'm going to take advantage of this time to save it. I should have done that first thing, but we're going to go up to File and Save As, and choose Save to Cloud Documents. This will make it so this project is accessible to you anywhere that you have internet. You can log onto your account and you can access your files.